Good morning, officers. I am back with new topic, with new energy, and I hope everyone is doing good in their particular domain. We have left with 12 weeks and 5 days for the particular mains come prelims, and overall around 240 days for the prelims. Okay, so basically today is Monday and the first day of the week. I am going to start with our regular IR topic, along with what I found that recently there was very big incidents happened in the Kuru district of Tamil Nadu. So I decided to shift a bit from our traditional approach to going to the subject wise. Now, first I will discuss the what exactly the development happened in the Kuru district, a particular disaster. We always hear the term disaster, but what exactly disaster mean and what happened in the Kuru? Okay, this is a district in Tamil Nadu. Now, disaster is topic under our GS3 syllabus, disaster and disaster management. Okay, this is directly given in our UPSC syllabus. Okay, so it is important for us to study the disasters. At least one question there will be on any disaster and disaster preparedness. So today I am going to discuss one disaster, that name is this one. You will get the idea. Let me show you. This is the questions on particularly the earlier PYQ questions UPSC asked on the disaster. Every year there is one disaster, specific disaster, but this is a Kurur district. TVK Tamil Nadu. Everyone's. Let me show you the image. This is image. Around 39 people died because of this overcrowding, because of this unmanaged overcrowded density. And who were there? Most of the ordinary people who want to just see the sights of the actor. And this management, everything, this mismanagement, I would say, led to the death of 39 people. And plus still government is telling that there will be the more tragedy will happen. So why this kind of incidents is happening? Why this kind of incidents is happening? Because there are multiple reasons. Okay, multiple reasons. Apart from this multiple reasons, let me show you the what is definition of the stampede. If you see, there was stampede in Ayodhya recently, the Mahakumbh. Around 60 people died in that Ayodhya. Now this is 39. So can you imagine the how lives, even the our constitution gives the mandate of right to dignified life under Article 21, but people are dying like this, and this is not their cause. This was not their fault. At the certain time, it was considered as their fault. But if you see, if government would have managed this crowd properly, if the management, those who are management included all facilities exist in integrate everything in the proper way or channelizing the crowd in proper way, this would have avoided this kind of tragedy. That's why the disaster management consider stampede as a man-made disaster. Okay, this is given in our Disaster Management Act 2005. So this is paramount important for us to discuss this topic. Okay, now what is disaster? What is stampede? Okay, see, this is a orderly crowd moving in particular direction. And now just think, if this crowd move in this haphazard manner, the breaking of the order, and this order ultimately leads to the disruption, chaos, chaotic situation, and killing of the people. If orderly flow is going, and that flow is not managed properly by the crowd management or the event managers, even if you see this one particular movie release, Allu Arjun issue was happened, stampede outside the theater hall. Then one of the fire incidents happened in the Morbi bridge in the Gujarat. So why all this crowd management disaster are happening? Stampede is one of the disasters in the crowd management, but there are other disasters also. So what is stampede? Stampede is disruption of orderly movement of the crowd. Okay, this is simple definition. And how many incidents happened till now? If you see the data, you will get the idea how many disasters are happening. Okay, now this is our due to 90% suffocation and combustion. Now stampede as a disaster, as given as I told you, 2025, and around majorly this many disaster happen in India post from 1956 to 2020. These are the disaster number. Major disaster. I'm not talking about the minor disaster. Major disaster where the news like tragedy happened more than 10-20 people. Okay, Hathras incidents, then the Surat incidents, then Gujarat incidents. So all these are the stampede crowd related. So what reasons this crowd disaster happened? Stampede happened. So now we are going to discuss what exactly the stampede, a stampede disaster reasons for the stampede. Okay, so these are the causes of stampede. Okay, if crowd is moving the particular direction and there is no proper entry and exit, what will happen? This thing will happen first. And high density of crowd, overcrowding, high density of crowd, that means in a very limited place there are more number of people are accumulated. Okay, this led to the suffocation, this led to the even, and this is the more vulnerable. If you see the any disaster happen, who are the victims? Mostly children and women. Why? Because they are not that much physically capable to escape from the such more pressure. Okay, so even in this case also, in the Kurur case also, there are most of the fatalities are from the children and women. Okay, so first one is overcrowding and high density of crowding. Okay, this is the first reason. Next reason will be myocardia. This is the just reason they have given. Let me show you. This is the cause: structural and administrative failures. Now take the example of Kurur. This was the path, and in this path, this was the means particular rally path. In this, what happened? Crowd gathered fully, and the crowd was expecting around 30,000, and crowd exactly came on that incident. What was 60,000? And management, those who are managing the crowd, the fully because of delay in the arrival of the particular individual, this led to the crowd gathering, crowd swelling, fully swelling of the crowd, and this crowd swelling leads to the people campaigning together, compiling, forcing each other, and ultimately small trigger of some issue, electrification, fire, as you say. The one case was the Surat coaching institute. Surat, even the Mukherjee Nagar last year, one coaching institute happened. Uh, Crowd. There was just small reason that the fire incidents happen. Just misinformation. I would say misinformation happened that fire is ablazing, and that's led to the crowd is moving here in hypothetical breaking that order. Okay, the breaking that order leads to this stampede disaster. Okay, so this is one of the reason. Now structural, administrative, the particular the site survey, medical lack of medical facility availability, and the security and the coordination gap between the agencies. One side police are there, and other side the management, crowd management, the event managers. So there is big gap is there between these two things, these two organizations, these two people of groups. Okay, and this led to the misinformation. This led to the particularly the hammering of the overall the management of the particular event. And this is common phenomena in India, particularly the religious gatherings. People gather in huge number despite the NDMA guidelines, despite the government announcements, despite the warnings, everything, people gathered in huge manner, and that too children and women. So this is the third reason: misinformation and lack of coordination between the agencies, managing agencies for the stampede or man-made disaster. Now this is the thing. Then behavioral triggers. What are the behavioral triggers? Behavioral triggers are nothing but someone is spreading information. That means we are standing in the crowd, and someone will say, "Hey, this thing happened, let's fast, let's run." So this panic situation will arise, and at this panic situation everyone will get like running here and there, and breaking the order leads to the chaos, and leading to the chaos leading to the fatalities. This is the fourth reason. Now, delayed misinformation schedule in Kurur Vyasa, long waiting hours. This generally politicians thought that being shown, being as a politician or politicians, what they thought, they are thinking that if we make people wait, there will be the more crowd and more population. But the dark side of this side of cheap politics is that people are ultimately suffering. Ordinary people. Just think, time is given 2 p.m. Okay, time is given 2 p.m. and in this 2 p.m. your chief guest is arriving at 7 p.m. Then what will happen? These 5 hours, okay, led to more crowd gathering, more crowd will assemble, and this more crowd assemble will lead to the more crowd, and if small behavioral changes anything may lead to the stampede and the chaos and the fatalities. So this is the fifth reason. Okay, now let me show you what exactly the constitutional provisions and the statutory backup for the man-made crowds. First of all, this lead to the violation of the fundamental article 21. Okay, fundamental right, article 21. Then NDMA guidelines also mentioned. This is just a legal backup. You can mention in your answer whenever you will prepare whenever you will write the answer. Okay, you can make a notes on this also. Okay, so this is the article 21 violation, Disaster Management Act and Indian IPC. Now it is changed with Bharatiya Nyay Sanhita. Okay, 2023. Now, what we can do to, and Supreme Court directives also, Supreme Court has given particular directives to how to control the crowd. Even guidelines are there. Even NDMA have very 250 pages guidelines NDMA has provided how to manage the crowd. Now, we are going to discuss what exactly the crowds and how we can manage the crowds. Okay, these are the structural failures even, and this is a pie chart. You can go through this panic situation, evacuation crowding, overcrowding, the high density crowding. This lead to the crushing disaster, the suffocation and traumatic shock. Ultimately, attendance level high, the action by performance, the improper adequate arrangement. These are the in flow chart. You can go through it simply and you can mention in your answer. Okay, so first is before management. I would say if you are organizing certain event and you know that there will be the around 30%. Okay, as I said that there are certain deficit information political before management. Let's discuss this point of challenge in addressing the stampede kind of the why we are not able to manage the particular stampede disaster, why we are not able to avoid the avoidable disasters. The reason number one is this one. Read the implementation deficit. Guidelines are there, do's and don'ts are there, but who is implementing? No one is implementing, and even the implementing authority, their management is very rare. And if you see, there was strictly prohibition on the crowd management post RCB or IPL win. How many people died? Around 19 people died. 19 people, 19 people died. And this why happened? In sudden midnight, they decided to crowd. They decided to enjoy their win. What was the thing? People started gathering. Despite guidelines, did they implement the guidelines? No. So this is implementation deficit. You can mention the Bangalore tragedy stampede 2025. Now, political and religious pressures. What one I just want to show you how exactly in India around 79% stampede related incidents is happening in the religious gathering. And despite this thing, we are arranging the huge, large number of religious gatherings. Isn't it the violation? And why this is happening? Maybe there are certain numbers, but this is one of the factor which means which create the hurdles for the crowd management and ultimately creates the hurdle for the overall the disaster avoidance situation. Okay, now the weak coordination, as I earlier mentioned, the weak coordination between the organization, health facility, lack of availability of the health professionals at the particular incidents. So this ultimately creates the challenges to manage this stampede. Now we are going to discuss the infrastructure shortcomings, public awareness, data deficit. All these are infrastructure awareness. If you see the infrastructure shortcomings, you have made the infrastructure for 30,000 people and means people gathered is 60,000. How it will you will manage with the 30,000 people infrastructure? This is also issue. Stage making, the stage collapse, the arrangement, particular the grouping, segregation. Okay, this is the then public awareness. Despite the public awareness, people know that there will be the huge crowd. Everyone thinks that every other people will take care, but ultimately no one is taking care of their own self. No one is taking care of their own self, and this leads to the crowd situation. This leads to the stampede like incidences and that happen in the Kuru. Stampede like situation happen in the Kuru. Okay, so now these are the what we can do to address this situation. This is NDMA guidelines. While going, you can have certain water bottle, the management, the road safety, the first aid kit, and be smart. The segregation of children and women. This is are the one of the aspect. Now, policy reforms, mandate reform, the technological integration. Yes, we can use the technology. Yes, we can use we can use the AI tools to manage the crowd. But before this, I would explain the crowd management in the three ways. Okay, let me how we can avoid this man-made disaster. As our usual approach, this is the best approach for your any disaster. Before disaster happens, so before the disaster is safety audit, mandatory safety audit of the whatever the facilities provided by the management event managers. Okay, so this is a one thing. Safety audits, this safety audits may be site just site over monitoring, site overview, arrangement, structural arrangement. I would say structural arrangement can be can be inspected through the safety mandatory safety audit. The next one is legal liability. In legal liability, there should be the liability on the event organizers on this. That's why the yesterday only Tamil Nadu government said that they have to set up the committee, one member committee to inquire, investigate the who was the responsible, what led to the stampede. Okay. The next one is technological integration, drone, CCTV. This is a during disaster. If crowd is there, you can manage the crowd. What exactly happened through the drone technology, use of the CCTV cameras. This will help to smoothen the flow, and this will help to flow that crowd in orderly manner. Okay, so this is a during disaster. Now, infrastructure logistics support. While gathering is there, while everything is there, the people of those who are managing the event, they can make sufficient infrastructure arrangement. Age group, they can divide the people, or else women section should be separate. If you see, this is the NDMA guidelines. There will be the sufficient passage between the sections. Let me show you the diagram exactly how we can. This is the main stage. Okay, and now here there should be woman section, senior citizen, man and young. In this way, age based sufficient spacing in there, and the people man, there should be no crossing of each other. If this is the way we arrange the crowd, then this will be a very good proposal. This can avoid the stampede like situation. Even during the rallies, you can do one thing, that is, this is a rally going on. Okay, this is the rally, this is a path of rally, and just think the first line, second line, and third line bracketing. This will be the man, then this will be the woman, and this will be children, because this will be easy to evacuate the people, and then the finally arrangement. This should be done instead of just keeping everyone in the age group. We can divide. This could avoid the stampede like situation, and this could save the people's lives of ordinary people. Okay, so these are the exactly the public awareness is also important, how we can manage the crowd. Infrastructure logistics supporting the capacity building, mobile apps, stationery, coordination among the agencies, and everything. Okay, so these are the situations, and these are the ways where we can manage the crowd properly. So this was the overall our article related to the how disaster is happening, why this, what is the stampede, and the stampede management through why exactly the stampede is happening, stampede management, and why we are studying this stampede situation. Okay, so overall this was the article. Do mention some data, do mention some examples like Hathras, then particularly the our Ayodhya incident, then Kurur incident, then the Surat Bridge incidents. So do mention such kind of incidents. So this will help you to make your answer more comprehensive. But do remember, stampede is a gross violation of Article 21, and stampede is a man-made disaster under Disaster Management Act 2005. This should be come in your answer. So your conclusion automatically will be the Kurur incident is a reminder for all the event managers to uphold the fundamental right given under Article 21, dignified life. Okay, so this is our overall article on disaster, stampede disaster. Now, what we will go to the our conventional topic, that is the IR topic. We are going to discuss the today's conventional topic IR. That is the topic is recently stampede is happening in India, but one of the stampede man-made disaster created by the Donald Trump is happening across the USA, and that disaster is impacting overall world. For example, this is our today's topic is this one. Okay, this is our, and why I have taken this topic, because of H1B visa. Why we are discussing the H1B visa? Because 70% professional beneficiaries of H1B visa are Indians. But we will discuss the overall India-US bilateral relationship and how they are going. Okay, so first is non-alignment to the particular partnership. This is a main question introduced. Now, evaluation of the India-US ties. This is a just basic example. I have basic factual information there from the 1950s, how US is recognition, then 1974 US sanctions, then 1998 once again US sanctions, then 123 agreement. So all this becomes important, and post 2010 there is a too much strategic partnership between India and USA, then 2+2 dialogue, then the Quad formation, then I2U2, then defense agreements. All these are the examples of how India-US revolution, India-US bilateral ties evolved over the period. But this H1B visa are the most prominent. H1B visa are the most prominent that is hampering the situation. Okay. Strategic partnership, defense, security, technology. Okay, you can go through this Cold War era. Mostly India is maintained the USSR non-alignment policy and the post-World War globalization policy. Okay, this is the one of the things. The defense technology, as I mentioned, the mentioned 123 agreement, Quad grouping. Okay, then 1998 post nuclear test sanctions. Then I2U2, then defense agreements. then the space technology cooperation, health sector cooperation, and 4.5 million diaspora is there in India, sorry, in the USA. Okay, so all these are the Indo-Pacific people to people ties. Okay, these are the diaspora of India. Now, why in the news? As I mentioned, the Donald Trump's H1B visa issue. Okay, this is the biggest triggering point between India and USA's recent, and this is one of the triggering point. Rest of the tariff war is already going on. The other issues are already going on. Okay, this is the thing. Now, what is H1B visa? See, guys, just don't go in technicalities. No need to study H1B visa in isolation. Just think this is one of the bone of contention between India USA bilateral relationship. Okay, and how India USA bilateral relationships are evolving, as I have discussed. Okay, so H1B visa is nothing but a kind of visa provided to the professionals which they can work in the USA for the temporary period, and this is the one chain. Everyone want to go to USA. H1B visa is a door for the green card, and green card is door for the citizenship. So this is a chain, and that's why from H1 visa to green card to the citizenship. And most of the people want those who are working in the USA, they are thinking that even though they will become the citizen of USA, they will be the live the happy life. This is all about pursuing and the giving priorities to your nationalism, to your personal interest. There is no means there is no harm to focus on your personal interest, but costing 1,000 means $1 lakh for the H1B visa. What is the purpose? You can study in India, you can provide everything, and tragic thing is brain drain. Around 1 lakh 1 lakh Indians are going in USA for study purpose, and they will settle there. Do contribute in our country, do support in our country. There are the facilities, there are the government is working with, the government is providing the opportunities. It is just a matter of perception. It is just a matter of perception. One of the scholar was Basu, he said like he was mentioning that instead of contributing in other countries' economy, there they will treat you as a foreigner. They, even though you are the citizen of particular country, but you are your nationality, your particular, even, and might be you know the difference between the nationality and citizenship. Citizenship is a legally recognized individual of particular country, but nationality belongs to the where you exactly your ancestor belong. Even though I will be the citizen of USA, but my nationality belongs to the India. This is the thing. So my point is this: instead of paying this hefty fee, contribute here. Here are the opportunities are there. Government is providing everything, and going there and treating living as a foreign partner, living as an inferior citizen. It's better to contribute in our own country and supporting our own country's development, isn't it? But what happens generally to means most of the professional, well-educated people, I would say well-educated people, they are more preferring to the countries like UK, USA, even though they are sending remittances, everything, but we have some bond with their own origin, national country. Okay, so this is H1B visa is nothing but a kind of special visa issued for the IT professional, those who can work in USA for the temporary period, and through that, if they work good, they will get the green card, and green card is a channel for the citizenship. Ultimately, you want citizenship, and even though those who are holding citizenship, how they are getting treated by the government officials in there and everything. There was a Vivek Ramaswamy, US lawmaker. He explicitly said that how the particular country's citizens, they are discriminating against the Afro-Asian or Afro-Asian Americans. This is happening. One technocrat of India means Indian citizen died because of certain incidents happened. Last year, if you know, one 24 years girl from the Andhra Pradesh studying in the USA, she killed by US officers. This is the tragedy. This is the thing, and we are spending our hard-earned money on just going abroad. Be here and contribute in our own country. See, it is the best. I would. This is not a philosophy lecture. This is a lecture on the India USA ties. But the simple way, what I suggest, what I believe, instead of going there contributing, anyhow, make this situation, make this country proud through contributing in any domain. You can contribute in any domain. You can contribute either civil domain, defense domain, or even in small corporate life also you can. Okay, so this H1B visa is nothing but a kind of the visa is issued to the particular citizen. They are means particular professional to work in the USA. Now Donald Trump don't want we should contribute, and our external affairs ministry openly said that this is not means this is not the India is only getting benefit. China is a secondary benefit, and our talent is going USA, contributing in their own country and supporting their economic growth. If you see the big five of the IITs, YouTube and Google, who are managers? Sundar Pichai is the best example. Sundar Pichai is best example who is contributing there. His nationality is the Indian nationality. So my point is this: Donald Trump is creating unnecessary man-made disaster. Okay, and this one of the disaster is this H1B visa issue. Okay, so now what we are going to discuss, this is a recent decision, and these are the impacts of H1B visa. Okay, so annual remittances, service export, then the impact on the IIT remittances, employment in India, employment generation, and there are positive impact also. Indian talent will remain in India, and this talent will provide support to Indian and India's growth. So this is also positive thing. But remittance is negatively affected. India's service export and overall those who are in there is full means like there was issue on which these new rules will apply. Those who are already upholding this H1B visa, or those who are newly applying for the renewal, or those who are newly applying for the H1B visa. There is fully ambiguity, and Donald Trump's policies are like he will say this thing here, and if you go there, he will say something different. This is thing is there. So, but it is hampering India's interest, alternative market challenges, and the bilateral trade tensions. So now, overall, these are the likely impact of particular points. Now, tell me, as we have discussed the evaluation of India-USA bilateral ties, what are the areas of cooperation where India and USA are cooperating? First example is defense security, then second example economy, then third example is particularly health sector. Okay, and this is the current challenges. Before that, let me mention the India USA areas of cooperation: defense, Limova, and security. You can say 1, 2, 3 agreement, Apache rocket. Then economy, trade partnership. India USA 100 billion, 191 billion US dollar trade is there. 191. Okay. Then space. NISAR is the best example. Health sector, people to people ties. So all these are the areas of cooperation. Now this is just a bilateral ties. Now what are the regional ties? Here only I will draw. Okay. Regional level. As I mentioned, the Quad, as I mentioned the I2U2, as I mentioned the Endos IMAC, as I mentioned the India Indo-Pacific. So all these are the areas of cooperation at a regional level between India and USA. Okay. Now tell me one thing, global level. UNSC support. USA is supporting UNSC, and USA's support to India's nuclear supplier group membership. Okay. USA's support to India's democracy and India's democracy, like we generally called as USA is world's largest democracy, and USA is called as world's oldest democracy, and India is called as world's largest democracy. So democratic values are there, and all this despite cooperation, people to people ties. If you see recently, India is importing oil from the USA also. India's defense cooperation are reached very high strategic level, and the bilateral visits are there. There is a 2+2 dialogue is there, annual dialogue between India and USA. In India and USA is cooperating the peace situation in the West Asia. India and USA is cooperating the making the peace and keeping the Indo-Pacific free from the any external pressure. These are the things. Despite these are the cooperation areas, the recent Donald Trump policies and recent the act of the Donald Trump, they are mostly hampering India's interest, and that interest, these are the current challenges. 50% tariff is on Indian. Okay. Now geopolitical divergence, particularly Russia issue is point in this. Okay. USA want India should bend according to their own wish, according to their own, and India is maintaining its strategic autonomy policy. India want to preserve its strategic autonomy, and India specifically denied this US's so-called bullying, so-called bandwagoning. Okay, and because of this, USA is imposing 50% tariff. Biologically, if you see, Europe and China is the largest importer beneficiary of Russia's discounted crude oil. Okay, and this crude oil, India is third largest. India is not largest importer, but India is facing dearth of 50% tariff, but China is not facing. So this is kind of the bullying technique used by USA to make India bend to tilt towards them. Okay, if you remember the good cop and bad cop of modus operandi, in that US's one of the minister, Donald Trump is appreciating India's efforts and everything, and the US's commerce minister criticizing India for India's ties with Russia. They said that India is means funding the US-Ukraine war. This is the thing. That means the intervention in the domestic policies, they are badly impacting the India-US bilateral ties. And now the recent issue of H1B visa. Even India raised the concerns with the concerned ministry of the USA to what you are doing. That is not absolute. That is not a good interest of the both countries. And we are in last 2 decades we have reached the maturity level ties. But despite this thing, you are unilaterally imposing H1B visa. Then USA gave some clarification. This is applies to the particular new applicant. Now just think about the USA. One more thing, what USA want? USA want India should be particularly act against China. Here also, India is not bending to what exactly USA's demand. Okay, the reason is this: we share the border with China. USA didn't share border with China, and we cannot depend on the USA for our defense security, and everything. So we are maintaining our strategic autonomy with USA, and that is triggering, that is creating the tensions between India USA ties. Even one of the US ministers said that if India want to be treated as a NATO ally, India should behave like NATO. It means that they want India should behave like their puppet. This is not going to happen because India is one of the major power. India is major power. India is one of the pole in the international political arena. India is world largest democracy. India is third largest economy, and India is world third largest defense power. Despite this thing, USA want India should bend. This is not going to happen, and this is creating the tensions between India USA ties. Okay, so this will be the geopolitical diversion, and even this is just from India side. Now tell me, what about US's policies? Protectionism, MAGA, Make America Great Again. These policies, they are badly hurting India USA ties, and China factor, as I mentioned. So what are the ways India should manage? There are number of ways, but I would discuss particularly what are the options for India. First, domestic options. The second one, regional level. And third one, engagement at a global level particularly. Okay, in domestic options, what India can do? In domestic options, what India can, creating the job, supporting MSME, and as USA did, we can develop our own P5, large 5 technological advancement. We have very strong agriculture sector, and this agriculture can be converted into food processing industry. This food processing industry can be a game changer for India. Okay, so these are the particularly domestic policies. Now let me show you what India can do at a regional level. Institutional dialogue, use this mechanism, 2+2 dialogue. This is the annual dialogue between India and USA's defense ministry and external affairs ministry. Okay, to use this platform, engage with USA, engage with USA's policies, engage with USA's policymakers. That's why our commerce minister recently visited USA, and there they were saying talks are going on, talks are peaceful, and certain areas we can exclude, but this one area cannot impact overall bilateral ties between India and USA. Health sector, space sector, science and technology, technological innovation. These are the areas where India and USA can cooperate and can go for the further. Even the climate diplomacy, global climate actions, there India and USA can contribute together. Okay, so these are the way forward. As bilateral Biden, this is a old data, but trade rebalancing. Even this trade rebalancing, India is asking USA to, they can export, but and India, they can export particular commodity in India. Okay, our Ministry of Finance has removed certain basic duties and the excise duties on the import from the USA. Okay, so these are the areas. Now, technological partnership. We know the technological partnership. NISAR is the best example. How the Apple stores and everything, the technological companies, they are working in India. That is also one of the pillars, the cooperation between India, and they can strengthen these pillars, cooperation. Okay. Now, next is defense co-production, make in India and make for the world. And similarly, America's Make America Great Again, MAGA. This MAGA can act is on the line of India's Make in India. Okay. So this can be convergence, and USA, instead of going to China, USA can divert their manufacturing sector to India, because India's manufacturing sector is bit weak compared to the service sector and compared to the agriculture sector. So this can be the convergence point between India and USA to strengthen their bilateral. And regarding the temporary halt between the tariff and the H1B visa, they can be solved by just discussion and dialogue. No need to like this is a long term impact between the India and USA ties. Indian USA ties in the long term, they are the fully operational, they are more mature and they are more comparative. Okay, these are the area. The energy cooperation, and as I mentioned, the environment is also domain. Environment is also domain where India and USA forest, best example is Forest 2 initiative. Technology, defense, energy. All these are the areas where India and USA and people to people mobility, visa, student fee, global South-South cooperation, global South. USA is also working in Africa, same as the case with India, Africa. Okay, so these both countries can work in Africa. You can draw this map, Africa. Okay, Africa, India, African continent, not the particular one country, and USA. Okay, so these are the areas where India and USA can cooperate. And to content China is also a policy of India, and USA also want to content the China. Okay, so this is the best way to cooperate and to elevate the particular basic small issues arising, temporary issues, not small, I would say temporary issues arising between the India and China, India and USA. Okay, so objectives, we have the democratic principles, we have the strong democracies, we have the diversity, we have, there are n number of similarities between the Indian society and US society. So society operation will be there. Track 2 diplomacy, track 1.5 diplomacy, academia, educational institutions, they can mingle each other and they can make this policy. So this is overall India USA ties, and why we discuss this issue? Because of H1B visa. No need to what exactly this visa is. This is a domestic policy of USA. This is, there will be no question on the what is H1B visa, who, which country. But in UPSC, there will be the question on what exactly the recent trends in USA India bilateral ties and how India is going to manage it. First is be self-reliant, be Atmanirbhar in our domestic capacity, in our domestic production. So our professional no need to go there to work, or even their professionals. We have freely, we have the principle of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam and we are implementing this. Okay, so this is our overall 2 articles on, this is a prelims question. India USA ties. Let me mention the India USA ties. Okay, this is our broader perspective of GS2 IR syllabus. Okay, IR syllabus. Now our first topic was stampede disaster. I would not say the stampede, but disaster. Disaster is mentioned in your GS3 syllabus. And pointed disaster and disaster management. So do have idea about the recent content trade, H1B visa, and the disaster management, disaster crowd, and the have some data. Okay, by this note, I will end up my today's discussion. Before going, I will want to say you, we are conducting Sankalp Sarthi test or Sankalp Sarthi mentorship, which includes your prelims test, mains test, and one study approach for your 2026 attempt. So those who are interested, they can join Sankalp Sarthi mentorship programming. Okay, and this programming include one study approach, 5 days study. Saturday will be for your prelims test in morning, followed by discussion, and mains test in afternoon, followed by discussion. Sunday is off. Those who want to join, use this effectively to 40 days, rest 12 week, 5 days. They can definitely join our Sankalp Sarthi mentorship program. This is going to become a game changer. This has been a game changer in the recent period, and instead of following a number of institute mentorship, why and why this mentorship you should join, and how this is different. In this, we are providing you process from morning wake up to the end, and not only the process, we are providing what to study, how to study, when to study. Okay, there will be this particular dimension, this, but in micro level. For example, today is the topic of planning. Okay, planning, this is mentioned in your GS3 syllabus, economy portion, planning resource mobilization. This is it. Now tell me, how, what kind of question UPSC had asked earlier in prelims? There was one question in 2019, the particularly the related to the planning 5-year, 5th-year plan. Okay, then once they asked the 2015 question on the planning commission in the Niti Aayog, and Niti Aayog they asked in 2025 only reports of Niti Aayog. Then there was one question on Atal Innovation Mission in 2020. So in this planning, what are the institutions? What to study? Institutions. Okay, then 5-year plans and their key objectives, schemes launched, how to study. Here you have to just mention the mains perspective, prelims perspective. In prelims, they are asking mostly the initiatives of Niti Aayog, initiatives of particular ministry, what exactly initiatives taken during the 5-year plan. Okay, now mains perspective, just what are the challenges in this and way forward. Your topic is done once you write the all these things. Okay, so this approach we are following in the Sankalp Sarthi mentorship program. Those who are interested, they can join the Sankalp Sarthi mentorship program. Okay, by this note, I will end up my today's discussion. I will come with new topic with current related and with same energy tomorrow 11 a.m. By then, thanks, Jai.